What is going on, SoFi fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. Today I want to give you a last minute review of what we can expect coming from our Q3 earnings, which in case you guys do not know is November the 1st, so tomorrow. So it's going to be a very big day for SoFi. So I'm going to go over all the stuff that we need to know coming from an investor standpoint. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciated. With that, let's get right to it. So for those of you that have not participated in a earnings call previously, there's several different things that we as investors care about. Earnings per share, revenue, future guidance. Within future guidance, it could be a little bit more vague. There's obviously, that's just the X factor kind of scenarios, but generally speaking, there's a lot of things that could get grouped into that. So I'm going to elaborate on all of that stuff, but I'm just going to quickly go over as far as what we can expect from revenue. So looking here, as far as the blue line, so in general though, we have already and always exceeded the analyst expectations. We did get one roughly about 2 weeks ago that did bump us up a little bit. So the estimate as of right now is 392.76 million. For those of you, once again, that haven't really participated, that is used as a benchmark. Whatever our actual is, so if it is above that, then hypothetically we beat. If it is below that, then unfortunately we kind of had a miss. So it's one of those things that's very heavily reliant on analysts. And it does suck to some regard that analysts are very much in charge of this. So again, it's a little bit more of a flawed system, but let me know your thoughts on that. But like I said, historically, we always beat the analyst estimates. So that is revenue. But regardless of all that, you can already see based on even up to Q3 2023, it is just continuously growing. So that's definitely a very positive thing. When it comes down to earnings per share though, this is where it is a little bit more of a gray area. So hypothetically, a lot of things get grouped into earnings per share. As you can see right now, the estimate is negative 10 cents, with 10 analysts giving that estimate, or as far as contributing to that. So when it comes down to the earnings per share, they have done quite a lot of marketing, more so coming from Galileo and also Technisys. So in general, the earnings per share might be exactly around the 10-cent mark. That's where I estimate that. As far as revenue goes, I do anticipate probably around the 400 in reality. So that's a good benchmark in my opinion, at least. Keep in mind, during Q3, there was a lot of fear on the market, but one very positive thing is that interest rates did go up quite a lot. So that should help SoFi's underlying business. But like I said, those are two attributes that could cause a little bit more fluctuation depending on how things go. We are not profitable, or net profitable, I should say, yet. So that's something that a lot of people are waiting for. And when they look at earnings per share and a lot of the numbers behind the scenes, this is where they can give a good estimation on hypothetically when we can become net profitable. So everything is linked ultimately. So this is where they do submit their quarterly earnings and people start to rip it apart. People start to decode it, try to make it to the best of their ability, very positive, negative, or whatever works for them. So definitely let me know your thoughts on that. Also, let me know your thoughts on as far as the earnings per share or revenue, where you see things going for that. But like I said, there's that X factor, which is future guidance. In future guidance, they can talk on a wide range of things, such as this. So even this, you can see it was posted on Twitter, and SoFi did respond saying, keep an eye out, updates soon, insinuating possibly it might be brought up in our Q3 earnings as far as when options trading is going to become available. So that is a very, very profitable aspect of trading. And I know a lot of people might not necessarily understand that, but options out of any aspect of trading is the most profitable. So I think this is why a lot of people are very anticipating and very excited for this options trading being a option, I guess, for investors. So definitely that is something for us to look forward to. And this is, like I said, that X factor. They're going to talk on all the big updates that should be coming, and hopefully options trading is one of them. Outside of that though, this is the transcripts from Q1. This is Q2. Ultimately, you can see that there was 7 analysts that did jump on board. So you do have Mizuho, Jefferies, Oppenheimer, Goldman Sachs, Credit Suisse, Bank of America, Morgan Stanley. And on the second one, we got Piper Sandler, Mizuho, Oppenheimer, Credit Suisse, Jefferies, Morgan Stanley, and MoffettNathanson, if I'm saying that correctly. But regardless, I do anticipate a lot of big analysts also coming on our Q3 earnings, and that is a very big deal. it goes to show that there's a demand. If we only had 1 or 2 analysts that did join us, it goes to show maybe it might not be advantageous, because what typically does happen is they submit their actual earnings a little bit earlier than their conference call, and then they do have our earnings conference call after that. So this is where a lot of people do participate in. But having around 7 or possibly more analysts is a very good sign. And typically a lot of these do, as far as institutions, do follow up with analyst ratings, and that typically does help the underlying stock. So that's always a very good sign. And over and above that though, there's going to be a lot of finite numbers that people are going to be caring about, one of which is customer growth. And based on the actual views on SoFi's actual website, it goes to show that just in September there was 4.1 million views. Hopefully that does translate to a little bit more customers. And over and above that, it does show that the visits are down 84% just based on month to month. So meaning and insinuating in August, it was around 7.5 million. So hopefully, like I said, that will insinuate a little bit more customer growth. We did do a lot of big actual campaigns, marketing campaigns. We did have 2.5% APY, which again is going to incentivize customers to come over to us. So hopefully we do have a fairly high number. And when it comes down to customer growth, that is, like I keep calling it, the X factor. That is what is the variable in all of this, because the higher number of customers, then technically product numbers should, in theory, go up. And same with deposits. Everything is connected to customers. This is why ultimately SoFi is really focusing on customers, whereas they could potentially just keep it at 1% APY and our revenue would go up significantly, but we wouldn't get the customers. So right now, especially more so on SoFi's growth, customer growth is a huge priority for SoFi. And when it comes to that though, a lot of analysts, based on the Q2 earnings, when they did have their opportunity to ask questions, they all said for the most part the same thing. Good job, SoFi, but what are you doing to mitigate if there is a big recession? I anticipate the exact same situation to happen in our Q3 earnings. So a lot of people are going to be looking at the overall basic balance sheet. So how much cash do they have? How much debt are they carrying as of right now? And even more so going back here, this is exactly what a lot of people are looking at. What does SoFi Technologies debt look like? So a lot of people want to know exactly what is behind the scenes. So like I said, there's a lot of different moving parts all at once. So as of right now, based on the Q2 earnings, as far as cash equivalents, short-term investments, 756.05 million. Long-term investments, 486 million, and debt is 3.91 billion. So that's one factor that a lot of people really want to see it go down. But what happened between the Q1 and the Q2, debt went down significantly. So if they do continue on that same growth, we could potentially be debt-free by the tail end of 2023. So that is a very positive thing. So like I said, there is a lot of things coming. And when it comes to more specifically the actual products, we're going to want to see an increase on all of those. The credit card, more so in Q2, went up roughly about, I think it is 150 to 200%, give or take. That is a very positive thing. Although you are going to get a lot more analysts looking at that actual info and say, well, technically credit cards, when it comes down to that, is a little bit higher risk. So it's all one of those things. It's all going to boil down to, if there's going to be a recession, what is SoFi doing to mitigate a lot of their risk? So a lot of different moving parts, but let me know your thoughts on SoFi and if you think that their earnings are going to be a home run or not. Me particularly, who is not a financial advisor, so make sure you guys do your own due diligence, I think they are going to win and beat on all of the fronts. So earnings per share, revenue, and future guidance. In the future guidance, like I said, I think Anthony does answer a lot of the questions very good. So when it does come down to a lot of the analysts asking questions saying, what are you doing to mitigate risk? What are you doing in this case? What is coming new for SoFi? Anthony does a phenomenal job, and clearly based on his previous work experience, he's used to dealing with a lot of criticism, if you want to call it that. So let me know your thoughts overall on SoFi in the comments below. Definitely one thing that hopefully investors will want to hear is just a little bit more optimism. Like I said, there's a lot of different things all moving at once, but you also want to listen and hear exactly what Anthony Noto does say and how he says it. So if he's saying things a little bit more optimism, similar to what happened in Q2, then anticipate analysts and also retail investors to feel a little bit more reassured in the underlying business. So like I said, let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Hopefully this you got a little bit more info from this in the grand scheme of things. Let me know if there is any aspect of SoFi that I possibly did miss that they might bring up during the actual Q3 earnings. Don't forget to hit hit that thumbs up and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. If you do like my channel, want to support the growth, take a look at my memberships. Link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that, appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.